Okay, so today is October 25 or 24, and just gonna go over yesterday's price action real quick. So yesterday, traded as I expected. Right off the morning, I noticed this engineered liquidity here off of the Asia-London session. Price drew higher and drew into this balanced price range as well as this breaker up here. And that's something I had expected price to do, maybe have trouble getting above this price area here. And if price did have trouble getting above here, then I would likely short or likely seek for shorts because I wanted to see what I wanted to see is I wanted to get long in this area down here somewhere. And so once price displaced lower, I was eyeing this breaker here. This breaker's here to see what it wanted to do, and it did here in these and during the first 15 minutes, price did not necessarily close below this area here. On the 15-minute as well, it did not close below these areas here. So it's logical to assume that price may want to seek higher prices, maybe a retracement into 50% of the range or some sort of bearish PD array. And so that's basically what I was looking for. The only problem was that I was a little too focused on NQ. What I should have been is I should have kept a broader point of view, because had I done that, um, I would have noticed that ES was the better short. Not to say that NQ wasn't a short, because eventually it did reach my objectives, but I like shorting the one that fails to break above an old high or break below an old low. And so as you can see here with this high and this high here, as well as this high and this high here, this one failed to get above. And so had I held my stop here above this high, um, I wouldn't have gotten stopped out. But that's actually my fault. Um, and so either one of these two was a good play, but I just had to wait through some pain a little bit until it finally reached my objective. Because I did short NQ, and NQ I shorted right at the high actually, or towards the high, but I actually ended up covering that stuff. Um, but again, it was completely my fault. Once I noticed where price was headed to, once I noticed the draw on liquidity. So again, price broke this high. Price did not sweep this high here, which is SMT. And so again, once I noticed price trade into this breaker on the 15-minute, I shorted right up here once, took another short here, and then took another final one here. And then once price swept this low, I probably should have covered one into here. The only problem was though, once price traded down into this low, I immediately drew brought my stop loss down into this area here. What I should have done is I should have kept my stop at the original stop, and only brought down my my target or my stop loss after my first objective was met. This was my first objective. Then my second objective was another low here, and then finally this low here. I think there was another low down here somewhere, but that's in case we had a continuation. And so again, I kept my stop. I should have kept my stop by my original place. All throughout this time right here, this is time distortion, basically getting shorts and longs stopped out. So again, leave my original stop as is until my first objective gets hit. Once my first objective gets hit, then you move your stop down up to this low, actually this low here, since I don't expect price to come back and sweep these highs anymore. So that's what I should have done, and in fact, I actually, once price traded down into this low here, I drew my stop. I brought my stop down to this area here, and I got stopped out on everything. Nevertheless, though, I did keep my stops, my loss to a minimum, so that's fine. So, anyways, I came back during the 1300 macro. I didn't find anything, but I did like this displacement higher. We swept this low here. ES also swept this low here, and here again, here's where I expected to get along. I wanted to get along in this area here somewhere. But then when I came back during the 1300 macro, I did not like how price had already swept these highs. And I had expected price to maybe sweep this higher and definitely this high up here. ES, however, had not swept this high. So again, during the 1300 macro, we were already up here. So what I wanted to see, excuse me, what I wanted to see is I wanted to see price sweep buy side, which it did here and up here. So we had two liquidity sweeps up here. Right. Okay. So the first stage of my analysis was done. Sweep buy side here. Then I wanted to see price sweep sell side going into another macro, which it did right here. And this as well. And then I wanted to see price hold above this. So if you take the retracement or 50% of the range, you can actually see that it lands right smack dab at the tick. Actually, it's this one right here. This right here. Right here. But if you're looking to, the reason why I used that low was because that's where the momentum started. That's where the big move started. And as you can see here, on ES is the one that actually touched it as well. As you can see right, I was pointing with my finger. As you can see right there, it basically just hit it. And so that to me is enough. I like it when one of the pairs reaches 50% and the other one doesn't. And so came back for the 1400 macro, drew into this area. I did not turtle soup this. I should have, because if you look right here with this wick, it literally touched to the wick or to the tick this 5-minute unicorn setup. So I have missed this entry, and what I was looking for, I was looking for a draw up to these highs and then eventually these highs up here. And so I was a little too, I guess you can say I was a little too, one second. Okay, so anyways, I was a little doubtful on getting long here, which I should have, but that's fine. Price came back here, closed above here. I actually got in right here, a little higher than 50% of the range. But I'm glad I got in here, because once price closed above here, we had change in the state of delivery. Not necessarily over here. Market structure shift is here. Here is change in the state of delivery on the 1 minute. And as you can see, price held. Now, this is where it gets crazy. From the morning setup, I had to wait a long time, and I also had to wait a long time for this trade to work out. The good thing about it is, after I entered into my journal what my mistakes were, I actually had to hold all throughout this until I covered into this long here, and finally this high here. And so again, I had to wait. I had to go through a little bit of pain, but my stop was always right here. Yep, my stop was always right here, because here we have two gaps right here, and I was using this gap as my entries. And if price violated this gap right here, it would be if price broke below this low here. As you can see here, it almost did. And when this right here failed to break this new low, I felt comfortable. I felt uncomfortable once again here, but again, it did not break this low. And then once price drew higher, swept this high here, brought my stop up on the rest of my my position here once I covered up here, and then eventually covered up here. I probably wouldn't have, if price came back down and swept this low, I probably wouldn't have held. I probably would have taken my stop here. And ultimately maybe even here if price kept on closing below here. But again, pretty good lesson I learned from the morning setup. You have to go through a little bit of pain, but as long as you keep your stop to the original, then you're going to be fine. And so pretty good. I would have to say great executions in the morning and afternoon session, but the stop was what killed me. Had I not moved my stop in the morning session, I probably would have nailed this trade. And here I nailed it because again I learned from this mistake here, and so I learned from that. So um, today we do have news at I believe it's at 0830. Yep, we have news at 0830. Do we have any earnings? We're still in retail week of the earnings. As far as I can see, nothing significant on the schedule. No crazy Mercedes Benz. Um, yeah, nothing significant. Carter's, Barnes, Hertz. So yeah, nothing significant in the earnings calendar. So today I'm going into this. I'm going into the day neutral because on the daily we only traded into 50% of this range here, and we still closed kind of below it. We're still below these order blocks up here. So again, I am very neutral today. I don't expect. I would be highly surprised if we draw higher. I mean, wait. I'm not going to be highly surprised if we draw higher because as long as I see how Asia and London traded. If I see what I want to see for a bullish price action, then I won't be surprised if we draw higher. I'll be highly surprised if we come down to these lows though. That's what I wanted to say. So again, we did reject these areas here on the daily. We have an inside candle right here, inside candle. So and it's on the lower part of this body. I like this one more so than this one. So let's take a look at the 5 minute. An inside candle is good for bearish price action if you're looking for a bearish move. Um, let's see here. So on the 4 hour, we have this gap here that's been rejecting. Same thing here. We have this gap here that's been rejecting, um, as well as this order block. I mean, this breaker here. We have this daily change in the state of delivery candle here. We also have this candle here. This could potentially form up another candle that may turn into the propulsion block that sends price down, but that's yet to be seen. Um, Same thing with this candle here. I am watching this 4 hour order block, which yesterday did reject. I do have this high here and this low here as buy side, minor sell side, and then sell side. Sell side, minor sell side, buy side up here. So I want to see what price did over Asia to see where we want to head to first before we head to those either that high or that low. If price came up to this high, then I will look to see how price traded during Asia and London as well. Same thing here. If price traded higher, then I will look to see how Asia and London traded. Let's take a look at the hourly. Nothing on the 4 hour here that I wanna really pay attention to, except for these areas here. On the 1 hour, we do have this imbalance here. I was watching a little bit of Asia, and once Asia traded into this area here, I do believe it was starting to reject. So during Asia, what do I want to see? During Asia, I want to see a consolidation or maybe a slow back and forth move into these lows here. Then during London, we get that rejection or that manipulation move, and then we draw higher. If we drew into these areas here, because we have a 15-minute unicorn here, right? Same thing here. We have a 15-minute unicorn, and that's what I want to see. I want to see a slow move down, sweep of these lows, and then we draw higher into these highs up here, because these highs to me are still relatively smooth. This high right here, and I mean this low are they look sharp to me. but that's yet to be seen again. If we just came down and sweep these lows, I'll still like to look for a draw higher into maybe 50% of the range, and eventually these highs appear. If we didn't stop here, but we actually came down here, then we will look for that. But again, that all has to do with how Asia and London traded. If we drew higher, then I want to see how price traded up here to see if maybe we catch a short down into these areas. So again, yesterday we had sweep of the lows, sell side liquidity. So now buy side liquidity is up here. On the lower time frame, we have buy side liquidity was swept up here, sell side liquidity. Buy side liquidity on the lower time frame, sell side liquidity. So likely we head up to buy side liquidity now. But yeah, let's go ahead and connect to data and see what we're doing now. Actually, I don't think I need this anymore unless we swap south side. Let's go to the 15 minute and let's stay in the 60 minute. Perfect. Okay, so we swept buy side. So this I can take out. We did sweep sell side here. We didn't come down to sweep this here, so that's actually pretty good. And we swept this area here. This area here to me was important because I wanted to see how this area traded. This right here is a balanced price range. As you can see here, it hasn't traded through yet. Actually, this area right here, we are within this gap here. Okay, so overnight Asia consolidated, consolidation, manipulation, consolidation, manipulation, or expansion. Let's take a look at the daily first. So on the daily, I don't see anything holding price back from maybe attacking these highs up here. Same thing here. So this high here I'm paying attention to. Might be the next draw on liquidity. It's not going to go immediately, obviously. We took out previous day high, took out previous day high. That's buy side liquidity for me. Currently, right now, to me, the previous day high is the draw on liquidity. We are at this new week opening gap, which, again, like always, acts like a magnet in price. So I want to see how price trades in this area here. Okay, so this 4 hour here, currently we are above consequent encroachment or the median threshold of this order block here, which is fine. I want to see price close above it during the 10 o'clock macro. I don't think there's anything. I don't think that anything is going to set up during the 10 o'clock macro. Yeah, I don't see anything setting up. If we just come up to sweep this high here, then the objective is done. Yeah, then the objective will be done for me. There won't be any trade until later on in the 11 or 1300 macro. And it looks like we are going to sweep that, so objective should be done. this right here. All right, let's go ahead and I won't get rid of that yet. This would be optimal trade entry between this high and this low here, but I'm not looking to get short. We have an inverse here. Actually, get rid of that as well. I drew this a couple of days ago. I want to see how price trades here. Again, if the previous day high is broken, then I'm not. The objective will be done by then. Yesterday we swept sell side, swept buy side. Price keeps going. I think I'll have to delete this. I'm gonna get rid of these. Can get rid of this. Clear the chart. I would love it if this high did not get broken. Right, this is the daily SMT that I've been following the last couple of days. The first stage, actually on the hourly. All right, so we just swept that high. No trade. The only good trade offered was the 15-minute one during the Asia session. Actually, during Asia in London, which was SMT between this low and this low and this low and this low here. Take this one here after price traded above here. You get to draw higher into buy side and then previous day high. Did it sweep that high? Yes, it did. This is what I'm watching now. Yeah, I don't think there will be a trade today. I just don't like how price is already up here. We do have these relative equal lows, inside candle. Same thing, inside candle. It's reaching for those highs up there. What does the weekly look like? Very nice. Let's go back to the hourly. All right, so yeah, I'm not interested in getting long in these areas up here. We have displacement. Um, yeah, we have displacement. So the only thing I'm interested right now in is watching for structure. We have displacement expansion. So now what I want to see, I want to see consolidation or retracement back into some sort of 50% of a range of equilibrium, and then we get to draw higher. So what I want to see, the same thing I saw here. It's actually a couple of weeks ago. Let's try this one right here. So what I want to see is I want to see a 15-minute order block get drawn or a 5-minute. Then I want to see price fail to get above. We enter short there, and then we draw lower. But I want to see that obviously for a long setup. But again, that all depends on how price closes within the next 30 minutes. Let's see. All right. So now that it drew past this high, I want to see how price closes up here. Depending on how price closes up here, I maybe will target these highs up here. And ES, maybe I'll target these highs up here. I am still watching this 4-hour gap here. I don't need these anymore because these are not telling me anything since I am bullish. What if we close above here? If we close above here, that'd be interesting. So I'm going to keep my eye on this. Same thing here. Yeah, if we close above here, then we have a change in the state of delivery to the upside. Same thing here. If we close above here, then we have a change in the state of delivery. In the meantime, we just swept buy side here. Yesterday we swept buy side as well, but as you can see, this high and this low here, since we do have SMT on the daily, this one should be the stronger of the two, reaching for higher prices. But that's fine. It's neither here nor there as to which one draws towards the highest right now. The bias is bullish, so not looking for shorts. And so the drawn liquidity are these highs up here. The best thing I could ask for is for price to seek sell stops, and the first area of sell stops would be down here. If we do that, then I'll get long down here. But if we continue drawing higher, then we'll basically draw up higher up here, consolidate a little, and then continue drawing higher. But the base case scenario for me would be to see a sweep below these lows, because we do have relative equal lows down here. Here, not so much. So if anything, maybe these lows get swept. This order block held, and this order block held. This right here is the order block I'm going to be watching if price comes back down. Again, I don't expect price to come down, especially given where it's at right now. But that's all yet to be seen. I want to see how price closes on the during the 4-hour macro. And finally, the 15-minute. It could even come down here. So I'm also going to keep an eye here, because %50 of the range. We have an imbalance here. So if price is to remain bullish, then we might come back to sweep these lows here on the 15-minute. So again, I do want to see one of these lows get swept. Reminds me of, where was it? A couple of weeks ago, we caught that long. Uh, yep, right here. Price retraced, got long right here into 50% of this range, and then eventually into buy side right here. So, if anything, and at that high, I actually caught a 15-second short, but I'm not looking to take any chances like that today. I'm no longer trading on the 15 second. It's just asking to get lost. All right, so we almost touched that change in the state of delivery. I'm not going to switch into the 15 minute. I mean the 1 minute just yet. At least not until we get closer to the macro. Yeah, I really like that Asia setup. We took out buy side liquidity here. Here we took it out here, and actually not here. We left relative equal highs. Here we failed to sweep this low. Here we drew higher. Oh man, this would have been a nice trade, but wishful thinking. Yeah, definitely not the type of trade I would look to take at all at these highs. Yeah, at this point, I'm not surprised that we'll probably reach this high up here, because the last couple of weeks, uh, we've continuously failed to get above these areas here, and each time we try to get above, excuse me, each time we try to get above consequent encroachment of the daily order block here, we fail. Uh, this time we are getting above it because we took out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 previous day lows, so about 6 days worth of liquidity, and now we're drawing higher. Same thing here. We took out 1, 2, 3, a couple. I think it was five previous day lows worth of liquidity, so we are drawing higher. So now, until told otherwise, I'll be bullish. Well, I'm still bullish. Yesterday I was bullish, but short for the morning session. but bullish here. Obviously, I'll be short from time to time once when I notice how liquidity's trading. So we have 15 minutes here. We just closed on the 15 minute. We just closed above. Where is it? Right here. We have a change in state of delivery on the 4 hour. And on the 1 hour, I mean on the 4 hour on ES, we just hit it. Actually, no, we have market structure shift on the 4 hour. And if on ES we get a close above here during the 10 o'clock macro, we'll have a change of state of delivery on here. Oh, what does YM look like? YM also has market structure shift as well. At least on the 4 hour, on the daily, it looks bullish also because it's held at a weekly at a daily gap, and on the weekly it's still rebalancing that weekly imbalance. So yeah, and I'm gonna remain bullish still on YM as well. Actually, it's trading on the daily. It's trading from imbalance to imbalance. It just drew into a bearish imbalance. On NQ and ES, we're drawing from imbalance to liquidity, imbalance to liquidity. Actually, not on the weekly, on the daily, imbalance to liquidity, weekly imbalance to liquidity. On the 4 hour, imbalance, we took out liquidity. Now we're seeking external liquidity. 9 more minutes. By this time, I do think we maybe touch these highs up here. This is that SMT I'm talking about. And this low right here. And we have SMT off of yesterday's, actually it's 60-minute, right here and right here. So first stage, second stage. Second stage, the only time I add SMT is when liquidity has been swept. And on the 1 hour, it swept all of these lows, just like on the daily, it swept all of these lows. So this right, this to me is the SMT, SMT. I don't care about the SMT at the highs because, well, since we're bullish, no reason to add it on the top at the highs. The only thing you got to do is just wait. I do want to see again. I do want to see this candle on the hourly close above 5886, and then I don't care what it does afterwards. There was like a, and I always write this on my notes to say, if you think that something will occur during London, then wake up, to kind of remind my subconscious about it and to think about doing that. And I didn't do it yesterday, and I wish I would have now. But the more I keep writing it daily, the more I know I'll eventually start to do it. Because there are times like this right here and this. There are times when I expect or I start to think about it, but then I don't. But I know eventually, the more I write it, the more I'll actually start doing it. Uh, because um, that's the point of the journal, is to get my subconscious uh, in sync with my actual thought. I'm trying to remember where I wrote it. I mean, I read it every morning, but I've written so much that I really have no idea where it's at. It's somewhere. 5 more minutes. Yeah, at this point, I'm not looking to trade. I'm just following price action, trying to get a gauge out of what I'm going to be doing or what I'm going to be looking for. And it all, again, it all depends on how price closes on at the 10 hour. Now I'm hoping this high does not get swept, because if it doesn't get swept, then that kind of gives me an idea of what I want to do in the afternoon, and that would be to yeah, like right here is where I would want price to close, or right below this low here, because then I would want to see a slow and steady retracement slash consolidation, then maybe for a then I would measure that equilibrium, and then I'd look for some sort of SMT with a setup of a double purge, and then we get continuation higher. Four more minutes. No, please do not sweep. No. Almost. All right, so a minute and four. I mean, it's fine if it does this. If it sweeps, then we might need to come back down to draw into liquidity again. Well, we're about to. I can confidently remove this now, and I can also get rid of this. So much clear. Let's start with the 4 hour. Okay, perfect. Oh no, we're just going straight through. Let's put it here. Okay, so that's that. All right, so now this hides the drawn liquidity for me, but hopefully we don't sweep that high. Um, Same thing here. We closed above this right here, so now we have change in the state of delivery on ES. Previous day high, it's taken. All of these highs look pretty clean to me as well. Let's move to the 60. 60 we have this pretty big move here. Alright, the reason why I have this and not this low here is because here is where the move started, the momentum, and we're still drawing higher. That's fine. Let's look at the 15-minute. 15-minute, I don't see anything. We have a void here. Previous day highs have been swept. Forgot to put this in there. You got a lot of shorts getting liquidated over here. I kind of feel bad for them sometimes. All right, so nothing on the 15-minute either. Again, I want to see an order block get drawn in, but there's nothing anywhere except for here. This area looks like OTE so far. New week opening gap is the draw along with previous day low and this 4-hour gap here. It's a pretty nice confluence area, but again, I don't want this area to get drawn into just yet. I want price to come back down. So here's hoping to a retracement. The good thing about this move up is, well, one thing, it's keeping me away from trading. And we're about to hit the upper quadrant of that daily gap from, I think it's July 15th or something. So that's good. We just hit previous week high, relative equal highs. So we met that objective on ES. Yeah, damn, nothing on the 15-minute. Okay, so we met the objective, so I would not be surprised if we come down to these lows down here. Let's take a look at the 1-minute. Okay, I like this. Same as a couple of weeks ago. Which one was it? It was on Monday the 14th. If we're going to get a short, then sell side liquidities, at least on the 1-minute here. Here for these equal lows here. But I'd like to see a close below this candle here, which would be a better viewed on the 15-second. Let's take a look at the 15-minute. Nothing on the 15-minute. 5-minute. Nothing. 1-minute. Nothing. All right. So yeah, I would like a close below this area here. So if I take anything, it'll just be a paper trade. I'm not interested in technically, I'm not interested in getting short here with actual cash, but I'm just gonna take a paper trade to just trade this. So I'm watching this area to see how it closes. 43 point stop loss. Actually, it would be this right here. If this turns into an inverse and we draw lower, then I would stop out as soon as price closes above this candle. I mean above this inverse, if it turns into an inverse. This is not an inverse. There's no inverse here. I have like a tiny, tiny, tiny SMT here, but I don't like using lower time frame SMTs. So just let it be. I think if anything, we are going to get that draw. If we draw lower though, then the only thing I want to see on the 1 minute is a double purge, which actually that's where I took the short last time. It was on the 10th, I believe, or the 14th. Nope, right here. Yep, right here. No, it's actually on the 15-second. That's why I got short here. So here on the 15-second, I don't know if you see it, but if you zoom in, I'm not going to show the 15-second, but if you zoom in, you'll see here we swept this tiny low right here, and we swept this tiny high up here. There was also an imbalance, as you can see here, but on the 15-second it's clearer. This right here was a tiny breaker, and here's another breaker. So two breakers. I actually took the short here. Yeah, took the short here. I wanted to add another one here, but I was comfortable enough holding once I noticed this right here and covered into these lows here, and ultimately I think it was a few more points down here. Probably should have held onto this low. So it looks similar to that of a couple of weeks ago, but the fact that today we actually, or 2 days ago, we swept a lot of liquidity, um, keeps me is keeping me from doing that, because right now there's no sweep or anything. Let's move it to here that way. I mean, I can see it on my other monitor, but I like keeping things very uniform. All right, so we saw tiny buy side here. I kind of like it. If we close below here, I'm gonna take a paper. I'm waiting till that close though. Nope. Nah, it's just not something I would take on an actual account. And if you start taking paper trades, kind of just cause you believe it's going to go down, it's kind of teaching your subconscious to actually do that. So best to just stay away. Nope, still closed above. I like this order block here, this order block here. We swept buy side here. So now just want to see it close below here. And I'll take one with a stop above here, because this to me would become a breakaway gap. And what I wouldn't want to see is price trade into that. And if it does, then maybe one or two ticks, but that's it. If it trades through it, then obviously that was not a good play. We're already way past the macro though, so highly unlikely this trade works. Okay, so maybe that could be it. We are respecting this constant encroachment gap here. I mean, yeah. But I want to see a quick flush down.
Let's keep watching though, because now I'm seeing something else. So maybe now I want to see a double purge. Sweep, sweep of the high, displacement, entry, first objective, second objective. I see it here on the lower time frames and it just completed, so that could have been it, but now I want to see it on the 1 minute. All right, maybe that could have been it. Nope. All right, let's give it a shot. Stop would be up here, objective down here. I don't like that it didn't close below this area here, but in the off chance that this right here was a sweep I was looking for and not this, then we likely are going to draw lower now. We're way outside the macro though, so I'm less convinced that we are going to draw that way. Yep, even less convinced now. Let's put my stop. Actually, let's put it up here at this high. I forget what the rule says, but if you're in, verbatim, but if you're in a short and you are expecting a gap to fail, and price has this kind of price signature, then you shouldn't expect price to come back up here, especially if it's really weak. If it's not weak, then it'll probably stop you out. And if it comes up back up to here, then price is reversing. Yeah, it's probably the wrong entry. Wait a minute. Oh, I just noticed something. That's SMT at the lows. Technically, I would actually like to be long here as opposed to this one. but obviously the times to me are not uh, the times, even though they're different. Obviously, the 15 minute, it's a 15 minute, even though it's a 15-minute macro or a 15-minute SMT, it's the macro that's not here that is the reason why I wouldn't trade it, because we're way outside the macro already. So as you can see, we took that. How many points was it? So a couple of points more than the initial loss that I just took. So yeah, that was it. So now we took buy side. We drew a 5-minute order block right here. Let's get rid of this crap. So now we're building structure. Right, so we have that, and here in the 5-minute we drew an order block as well. I'm also mindful that we do have that void here. No, actually, here we do. Here we actually just closed it. No, we didn't. Actually, we don't have void here. For some reason, I thought we had a void here. So going into the afternoon session, I'm expecting price to continue to draw higher, but not sweep these highs just yet. What I want to see is I want price to consolidate, continue to draw higher in like a staircase sort of way, and then I want a quick sweep of those lows. And when we get the sweep of those lows, I want either NQ or ES to sweep these lows or some sort of lows, and the other one to not. And then once I notice that sort of SMT on the 15-minute, then I'll look to enter long. But aside from that, there really is no structure right now. We had the massive run up higher. Uh, so now, once you get that, you have to wait for consolidation. You have to wait for structure. You have to wait for that double purge, an order block. And if I see a 15-minute, uh, yeah, if I see a 15-minute order block get drawn, then I'll take take this 5-minute off and then use the 15-minute. But my criteria is, because we're on a move like this, my criteria is to see a 5 or 15-minute order block get drawn, and then use that as a reference point for how price wants to trade later on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'll see you next week. Oh, and if we do close above this, above the high of this gap, that's an inverse. And that's not to say that price will continue to draw higher next week, but at least we can be sure that whatever retracement we get next week into whatever lows, that those lows will hold. Because to me, this low is now a protected low. So highly unlikely that price comes back to these lows. So I will be looking for maybe a retracement back into 50% of this low here. So these equal lows, and then we draw higher, or whatever equal lows get drawn going into next week. But yeah, see you tomorrow.